the north central Arkansas area is where the main source of the search is at this point. And a lot of that too is just double backing and double checking to make sure we're not missing anything in the immediate area where we know for sure he was. Just double checking that area to make sure there's not something we're missing.
That was Rand Champion with the Arkansas Department of Corrections giving an update this afternoon on the search for escaped inmate Grant Hardin, former Northwest Arkansas police chief who was serving a prison sentence for deadly shooting that happened in Benton County. It's when he escaped from the North Central unit there in Calico Rock. Investigators believe a corrections officer opened the gate for Hardin on Sunday. This is a photo from the surveillance footage of Hardin during that escape. During today's news conference, the Department of Corrections confirmed that's the last surveillance video they have of him. Now, the prison he escaped from Sunday afternoon is the North Central Unit by Calico Rock. It's about an hour drive east of Harrison and in a very rural part of the state, northern part of the state, something that's complicated the search effort. 5 News reporter Lauren Spencer begins our team coverage in Izard County with the latest developments on the manhunt for Hardin and today's news conference from the Department of Corrections. Lauren?
Yeah, ADC confirmed with us today that there are no major leads in this case, and every tip they've received has not been credible. Despite hundreds of law enforcement here in the sky, on the ground, Hardin remains still on the run, and authorities aren't sharing exactly how he escaped or if anyone helped him. And it's making people kind of question how long this is going to take for him to get captured.
Until we have credible evidence that he is not in the area, we assume that he's probably still in the area.
The manhunt for Grant Hardin, now in its 4th day, has brought a massive police presence and a feeling of uncertainty to Calico Rock, what's normally a pretty quiet fishing town.
I came down here yesterday and there was nobody on the street. Kind of the same way today.
Linda Havner owns an ice cream shop and antique shop on Main Street, but business this week is the opposite of sweet.
I just was surprised that we had that kind of a guy here. You know, I mean, I thought this was supposed to be a minimum security prison.
An affidavit states that Hardin was let out by a corrections officer wearing a makeshift uniform designed to mimic law enforcement. Rand Champion with ADC says Hardin possibly also leveraged his own past as a police officer to blend in.
As far as the events leading up to that, that's still being looked over and considered and analyzed at this time.
The search zone is now expanded beyond the prison's immediate surroundings. While there's been no confirmed sightings, authorities believe Hardin may still be in the region. They say there are plenty of places to hide, such as barns, caves, and abandoned structures.
We're not going to rule anything out at this point, obviously, because all it takes is one vehicle to hop in and you can be anywhere, but as of this time, they feel very confident he is still in the area.
But back in town, Linda is looking forward to Hardin being caught and her doorbell ringing again.
We ought to be a lot more famous around here.
Champion told us today that Hardin does not have a history of disciplinary issues behind bars, but the public should consider him dangerous. Live in Calico Rock, covering news where you live, Lauren Spencer, 5 News.
All right, Lauren, thanks. Meanwhile, we are getting insight now from an international security consultant with 46 years of experience in security and law enforcement. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis in the newsroom now after she spoke with Carl De La Guerra on what is likely the inner workings of Hardin's mind regarding his escape. Kayla?
Yeah, that's right, Darren. Carl De La Guerra says an extensive background in law enforcement makes Hardin that much more cunning and dangerous, and it's likely how he was able to stay hidden this long. He believes this escape took meticulous planning, but also a substantial amount of chance and luck to get this far. De La Guerra says movement equals danger, and authorities say that's something Hardin understands because of his police background. That's why he believes Hardin is likely still hiding in some of the rugged terrain outside of the North Central Unit prison in Calico Rock. But it's only a matter of time before law enforcement captures him.
There's a mathematical formula where you would know exactly how far someone can move on foot. So that's a perimeter that has been set up. More than likely, multiple perimeters have been set up in the area. And then it's just a meticulous search through all that area there to look for areas where the size of one man could possibly be hiding.
When I asked De La Guerra if he believes Hardin had help, he said there's not enough information to say right now, but it can't be ruled out whether he had an accomplice this early into the investigation. Kayla Davis, 5 News.
All right, Kayla, thanks. Here's another look at the photos authorities have shared of Hardin with us. You can find these photos in all of our coverage and follow any updates on the manhunt on our free 5 News smartphone app, also on our website at 5newsonline.com. Also developing today, the city of Johnson's fire chief and a Springdale firefighter have both turned themselves into police. We've learned they're accused of embezzling thousands of dollars from the city of Johnson. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams has more now tonight on how all this unfolded.
2 local firefighters are accused of a scheme that took money away from emergency services and straight into their pockets. Washington County Prosecuting Attorney Office says they took up to $15,000 and tried to hide it through payroll.
Basically, for several months, the better part of the last year, Chief Wright was using payroll money to pay Brian Copeland when Brian Copeland in fact wasn't earning that money. It was discovered by other fire department members in Johnson seeing a time card with Brian Copeland's name on it and some times that they worked, and they knew Brian and they knew that he wasn't working at that time.
Chance Wright, now the former Johnson fire chief, turned himself into the Washington County Sheriff's Office on Tuesday. His charges include abuse of office and theft of property, which are Class C felonies. Brian Copeland turned himself in on Wednesday on 1 charge of theft of property. We reached out to Springdale Fire Department regarding Copeland's employment status. Springdale Fire Chief Blake Holt gave 5 News a statement saying, in part, quote, "We are aware of the current situation and take charges against our employees seriously. He is on paid administrative leave pending an investigation into the facts of the case." If the firefighters are found guilty, they could get 10 years in prison or a fine up to $10,000. But the Washington County Prosecuting Attorney's Office says that's not enough.
As part of their punishment, we're also going to seek restitution for the city of Johnson so that they're going to pay back every dime that they stole.
In Washington County, covering news where you live, Rachel Williams, 5 News.
Video voyeurism suspect Richard Copeland was in court today. He pled not guilty to the 2 charges and also refused to sign his arraignment papers. He was arrested after a hidden camera was discovered in the restroom of a Springdale business. Investigators later linked the device to Copeland. He filed paperwork last week asking the case be dismissed, claiming his rights were violated. The court has not issued a ruling on that request just yet. He is due back in court sometime in August. Developing tonight, the Arkansas Department of Health has confirmed another measles case in the state. It brings the total number of cases now across Arkansas to 7. ADH says at least 1 case in the state was from community spread. Most of the cases are in central Arkansas, but they say 1 person infected was in the Fort Smith area over Easter weekend this spring. Here's a look at a map showing all the counties in Arkansas with potential exposure sites that ADH has identified since the outbreak arrived in the state this spring. The outbreak began in Texas in February. CDC has now confirmed more than 1,000 cases nationwide.